Right.
And remember, they tried to kill me this same weekend, not in jokes, with a real gun in my real face on real camera. Understand, I'm losing my life for participating in something that goes along with my job. The world was okay with it because it was me. I answer to no one but God. If you are not Jehovah or Allah, I do not recognize your authority.
Child, y'all might want to sit down for this one because Dave Chappelle just stepped into the chat and exposed the industry for trying to unalive Katt Williams after his series of explosive interviews where he revealed all the twisted things that go on behind the scenes. Now, as y'all already know, Dave ain't new to this. The industry tried to get rid of him some years ago when he started speaking out and had to flee to South Africa to save his life. And it looks like even after all these years, Hollywood is still on their neck because the word on the street is some people don't like the fact that Katt has been running his mouth in every interview he's had in the past few days, and they want to silence him for good. What makes this even more disturbing is that this isn't the first time somebody in the industry has tried to silence Katt. A few years ago, they tried to get rid of him by painting him out to be a raging addict, and since then, they've been trying to take him out for good.
Like, all my enemies all look the same in the eyes, whether it's Faison, Wanda, Aries, Spears, they all look like...
Man, what you got against Wanda Sykes?
This is a person pulling a whole gun on a comedian in the confines of their job. It's really a weird situation when they hate you that bad.
Okay, so as most of y'all already know by now, the streets have been buzzing for weeks now after Katt appeared on Club Shay Shay and spilled some major tea about the industry and exposing big names like Kevin Hart, Steve Harvey, Diddy, Jay-Z, and a whole lot of other celebs. And just to give y'all a rundown of the type of stuff he exposed, he accused Kevin Hart of being an industry plant and claimed Kevin is nothing but a puppet who was placed in the industry to replace him. Since Kevin was okay conforming to everything the industry asked of him, no matter how messed up it was. He said Kevin was handed his own movies and TV shows out the gate without ever putting in any work to prove himself, and that the elites in the industry specifically did this to wipe out the relevancy of Katt Williams so Kevin would take over and become the new Katt Williams.
In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club. He already had his deals when he got here. Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading? No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plant is? Maybe people don't understand the definitions of these words. He just did his documentary with Chris Rock where he shows you that his whole upbringing in comedy was on the East Coast.
Yeah, it was.
So how simultaneously was he here in Los Angeles doing the same thing? It didn't happen. It didn't happen. And I hate to seem like a petty individual for picking apart lies.
Now, this isn't the first time that Katt and Kevin have gotten into it. In fact, just a few years ago, Kevin went off on Katt and accused him of being a crackhead who chose drugs over his career.
Tracing where Katt Williams comes from, you keep pointing at Hollywood. Hollywood this, the white man, this, and this. When do you take responsibility for your actions? You had the shot.
Katt was in that position at one point.
You were the guy.
Yeah.
You were set up to be the star. You didn't show up to work. You promo shoots. You your promo trips that they had set up for you. You became a risk to the studios, which is why the studios stopped with you.
Why was he a risk?
He chose drugs.
Oh, okay.
Take responsibility for what you chose and say, you know what? I got to fix me. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to stand up for comedy.
Katt also came for Cedric the Entertainer and accused him of stealing one of his jokes. According to Katt, he and Cedric resolved their issues behind the scenes, and Cedric even apologized for stealing his jokes. However, when Cedric appeared on Club Shay Shay, he denied everything and made it look like Katt was just making stuff up.
You and Katt, Katt say you stole one of his jokes.
Yeah, like, it was ridiculous. You know what I mean? It was like the idea of the joke that he was even talking about don't even match up with no timeline.
The idea what this brother is talking about, that joke is over 30 years old, close to 30-something years old. I did the Kings of Comedy in 1999. Probably have been doing that joke 6-7 years before that. I don't even know if Katt was doing comedy then.
Cedric told you when you asked him, did you steal Katt Williams' joke?
Yeah.
He said, it don't line up. Like, what doesn't line up? This is a televised joke that Mark Curry helped me punch up and get to the level that it was. Right, so he thought that I was just a no-name comedian and that he could take this joke and nobody would know.
Right.
The issue was that I had already done this particular joke on BET's Comic View twice.
Right.
1998, I'm doing this joke, it's on Comic View. Cedric comes to the Comedy Store. He watches me in the audience. He comes backstage. He tells me what a great job I did and how much he loves the joke. 2 years later, he's doing that as his last joke on the Kings of Comedy. And he's doing it verbatim. He's just changed my car into a spaceship. The truth don't need motivation. I'm just saying I can't let these dudes lie. Cedric's sitting here telling you why he ain't a movie star. He over here look like a walrus. You didn't say nothing. He can't even get his arms off his stomach sitting over here. Why I'm not a movie star. What?
Right.
We found out he can't sing, can't dance, and doesn't write jokes. He did 4 comedy specials. They're so bad, Shannon, they're not available on Netflix or Tubi.
He also later called out Steve Harvey for being jealous of the late Bernie Mac. Katt claims that Steve was a big hater of Bernie while he was still alive, but as soon as he died, Steve stole Bernie's whole style and all of his jokes and tried to make it look like they were his so people would find him funny.
That man was funnier than all of y'all, and y'all thought y'all had one over on him. You thought he was black and ugly, and you were good looking, and he couldn't make it because you did. And that ain't the way comedy works. The king is the funniest. Period. Every time. And that's why no audience member was ever swayed. It didn't matter where Bernie went. You think if Bernie went first, he wasn't the king? Get out of here. Get out of here. Get your ego out of this. You let the best be the best.
But despite all the things that Katt revealed in that interview, what really got folks talking was when he exposed Hollywood for having an agenda to emasculate black men and turn them all feminine. Katt revealed this while dragging Martin Lawrence for forcing him to wear a dress in Big Mama's house too, even after he had made it very clear that he wasn't gonna wear a dress. Black actors wearing dresses was a very popular trend at the time, and every black actor on TV was made to wear a dress at some point as some form of humiliation ritual to transition into the next level of fame. Tyler Perry did it, Ricky Smiley did it, Kevin Hart did it, Jamie Foxx also did it, and now they trying to get Katt to do it as well. But Katt is not rocking with the BS, and he made it very clear to Martin and the producers of the show that there was no way he was gonna put on that dress.
Martin tried to put me in my first dress. You know, we get in that office and this fool pull out Big Mama's house too. I almost died where this nigga want me to get in a dress with him. And I'm literally saying to everybody, why is he in a dress again? You already played the old lady as an FBI agent. We can play anything now. We can be playing a dog catcher this time. Why do we need to be in a dress? And I get so mad, I say, you don't want me. You want Brandon T. Jackson.
What's even crazier is that this wasn't the first time they tried to get Katt to emasculate himself. They pulled a similar stunt back in 2002 when he did the movie Friday After Next, except this time they wanted him to do something even worse. Katt recalled the time that Ice Cube and the producers of the movie tried to get him to film a scene of him getting cornered by by Terry Crews in the bathroom and then being SA'd by him because they thought the scene would be funny. Katt said he was strongly against that and told Ice and the producers there was no way he was gonna film that because there was absolutely nothing funny about somebody being SA'd. Katt also said this was a really big risk on his part because this was his first ever movie and they made him feel like he was being too demanding.
The truth of the matter is, the Money Mike in the original script got raped in the bathroom, and that's what Ricky Smiley was okay with. Katt Williams had to take the risk in front of the studios and the cast and our powers that be in his very first movie and say respectfully, humbly, guys, if we're talking about anything else, I have no credibility and I have no pull. But we're talking about comedy,
right,
where I have all the credibility and all the pull. The problem with Friday After Next is we're trying to make a classic comedy. And this comedy involves and rape is never funny, no matter who it happens to or what the circumstances are. If you would allow me to allow us to do this movie without a black man getting raped in it, I promise you that it will be twice as funny as it would be with him getting raped. So considering that's the real story, why would you bring up that story? 35 members of the cast and crew have never brought up that Ricky Smiley was gonna play Money Mike. No one ever saw me put on a Santa Claus suit. We got a wardrobe department. They made a Santa Claus suit for me. Why that wasn't in the bloopers? I wrote it. What I'm saying if I did it and I did a good job at it, you can thank me. I was involved.
Right.
I'm not gonna come later on and tell you, I never even read the whole script. So how you know what roles? What? What do you mean you never read the like these guys' whole job is to present something, unfortunately. And I'm just not a presenter. If you ask me a question, I'm just gonna tell you the truth of how it went.
This also explains why the media has been working overtime to paint Katt out as crazy and just an addict who says things for attention. A lot of people were disgusted when they heard about this, but they definitely weren't surprised because Dave Chappelle also spoke about this back in 2006 when he appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show after rejecting a $50 million deal with Comedy Central and jetting off to Africa for his safety. Dave revealed that there were some shady things that came with the deal and that he wasn't comfortable with them and that's why he turned it down. But while he was saying all this, Oprah kept interrupting him and forced him to admit to having some sort of mental illness.
Made a $100 million deal and 3 months later, she's all of a sudden mysteriously crazy. Or Martin Lawrence punches through and he's waving on the street screaming, they're trying to kill me.
Yeah, we hear those stories.
And it always happens around the time of their career where it seems as though they're crossing over the next plateau.
Yeah. Would you say you lost your mind, sort of?
No.
No.
Not exactly.
Okay.
I wasn't crazy, but it's incredibly stressful.
Now, at some point in the interview, he talked about how some Hollywood executives tried to force him to take antipsychotic medicine.
So I got ahead of schedule, and I bounced. And I didn't tell anybody where I was going. The whole time, they're trying to convince me I'm insane. They were trying to get me to take psychotic medication. Yeah. Like I'm sitting around, I was stressed out, but the people that were telling me I was insane, I believe that they knew what was going on.
Now, just for a little context, Dave made the headlines back in 2005 when he suddenly ditched season 3 of The Chappelle Show while it was still in production and ran off to South Africa with giving no valid reason for that decision. As soon as he left, the media started working overtime to ruin his reputation and label him as a mentally unstable person. They flooded the tabloids with claims about him being on crack and having manic episodes. Dave repeatedly denied these claims, but the media was just not letting up, and the people were eating it up. So he tried to defend himself many a times, including this interview with the New York Times, where he said, "I'm not crazy, I'm not smoking, I'm definitely stressed out. There were things that overwhelmed me, but not in the way that people are saying." So not only were they trying to get Dave to sell his soul and go against his personal beliefs, but the moment he stood his ground, they came at him so hard that he had to jet off to another country because he was scared for his life. And a lot of people also speculate that this is what happened to Martin Lawrence back in 1996. Even after he willingly did everything the industry told him to, including wearing a dress and trying to convince both Katt and Dave to also wear a dress, they still tried to destroy him the moment they were done with him. See, back in 1996, Martin was arrested after being picked up at a busy intersection in Sherman Oaks, California, holding a and screaming at passing motorists, "They trying to kill me." According to one witness, Martin also yelled, "Fight, don't give up, fight the power," as he was being taken to the hospital. Despite how alarming the things that Martin was screaming out really were, the media didn't mention a word about it and only talked about him having a manic episode and being hospitalized. The tabloids also kept referring to Martin as troubled and implied he was on some sort of But see, this is where things get even more interesting, because the doctors who treated Martin denied these claims and made it very clear that there was absolutely no medication of any type involved in Martin's breakdown. And y'all, get this, just 3 years after this whole fiasco, Martin almost lost his life after suffering a medical emergency. And then not too long after that, in August 1999, he fell into a coma after supposedly collapsing while jogging in hot weather. Luckily, Martin survived this too, but when he woke up, something was very different about him. Fans had noticed that his behavior drastically changed following these two incidents, with some people saying Martin seemed broken. These rumors were fueled by Dave Chappelle when he revealed that Martin's mental breakdown and multiple near-death experiences were caused by his deep involvement in Hollywood.
What is happening in Hollywood that a guy that tough will be on the street waving at screaming, "They are trying to kill me"?
Yeah.
What's going on? Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa? Why does Mariah Carey make a $100 million deal and take her clothes off on TRL? A weak person cannot get to sit here and talk to you. Ain't no weak people talking to you. So what is happening in Hollywood? Nobody knows. The worst thing to call somebody is crazy, is dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. That's bullshit. These people are not crazy. They're strong people. Maybe the environment is a little sick.
And as if all that ain't scary enough, word on the street is the industry is already plotting to do the same thing to Katt. They feel like Katt knows way too much and he needs to be taken out before he says more than he's supposed to say. The crazy thing is, this isn't the first time that they've tried to destroy Katt, but after his interview on Club Shay Shay, they see him as a threat. Sources close to Dave also claim that he sent a strong warning to Katt to be very careful because it's not going to be long before they come after him for exposing their secrets. Now, as usual, people had their own 2 cents to give about this, and they did not hold back. One person said, Katt Williams, Martin Lawrence, and Dave Chappelle at the height of their careers got called crazy and went into hiding. That should tell you something about Hollywood. Another person said, I always wonder why Martin's waving breakdown is so hard to find on the internet. There's very little information about what happened. I've surfed across the internet and can't find any real details. But now I want to know your thoughts. What do y'all think about the industry trying to unalive Katt Williams? And do y'all really think that Katt might have to go into hiding for a while so he can protect himself? Y'all been knew what to do. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And don't forget to click here to watch this other very messy video.